Hello, this is Graham Seibert speaking again from Kiev. In my introductory video, I described my experiences over a long lifetime. The short message is that things used to be better. The supposed fixes imposed on us by our supposed betters have made things worse. Relations between the sexes are worse. Race relations are worse. Healthcare is worse. And gays are certainly no better off. And the economy seems to be headed for collapse. All this is done with the best of professed intentions. In any case, I am increasingly happy with my own decision to live in Ukraine. People here do not kid themselves and do not try to fix problems that don't exist. The real problems are serious enough. So this video is about my life in Ukraine. It's wonderful being a retired father. I have time to spend with my kids. I also have time to cook and take care of the house and yard. And since our baby daughter Zoriana takes up most of Oksana's time, I wind up taking 6-year-old Eddie to and from school, playing games with him and reading to him. It's wonderful to have enough time to keep him occupied. We don't have a television, so he doesn't have the extra time that the average kid would spend watching it. Before retiring in 1997, I had spent my career in computers. As I dictate this to Dragon Naturally Speaking, I have 3 computers in front of me on my desk. I use quite a bit of software producing my YouTube videos. I do my presentations in PowerPoint. I use CorelDRAW and PhotoPaint to prepare the graphics. I use Movavi software for screen capture and video editings, and Audacity software to edit the soundtracks. I'm trying to come as close as I can to the production techniques of the bloggers I see on YouTube. I know a handful of other Americans who married Ukrainian women. Some of them have an age difference approaching that of my wife and I. All of them are happy. I don't know of any divorces. It's worth discussing my experience. Some of what impresses me is due to the unique Eastern European culture. Things that couldn't be equated between this country and elsewhere. A lot of it is due to traditionalism. Much of what I enjoy about Ukraine echoes the things I liked about the United States when I was growing up there 60 years ago. Ukrainians retain the independence and self-sufficiency that Americans seem to have given up over my lifetime. Raising children here is different. My first family came of age in a suburb of Washington, D.C. where they had everything, including no need to pick up after themselves. Here, we choose to have no car, no TV, and no maid. I don't have a job. There are no distractions for either of us, which means my 6-year-old son and I spend a lot of time together, some of it working around the house. Eddie has much more independence. We ride everywhere on the buses, so instead of being strapped into a car seat, he's a full-fledged passenger, conversing with all of the other riders and making friends with the drivers. He enjoys the same sort of self-sufficiency shopping. He knows all the vendors in the farmer's market, and these ladies love him. It's a radically different experience from shopping in an impersonal supermarket. The ladies in the market will, for instance, give us old fruits and vegetables that they can't sell, either at a steep discount or for free. Eddie turns them into banana fritters and tomato sauce. And we, of course, do pay them full price for the good produce. By and large, we make out in terms of value. But the most important thing is that Eddie is developing relationships. I can give him a couple of dollars and send him to one of these babushkas with a list to buy. That's a lot of responsibility for a 6-year-old, something that most kids in the West don't experience. Now, driving offers another interesting comparison. Ukrainians consider their drivers to be terrible. I think they're not that bad. Give them American roads and they would be better than we are. Another comparison can be made with skilled labor. Workers in the United States have a considerable advantage in the level of tools and training they receive. Ukrainians tend more to be masters of all trades, and the upshot is that it's quite a bit cheaper to get things built or fixed in Ukraine. There's a somewhat higher likelihood that you'll have to have them fixed again before too long. The technology is also different. For instance, I don't have a thermostat on the wall of my house. Nobody does. I adjust the boiler temperature up and down when it gets cooler or warmer. It doesn't make sense, but that's how it is. The hardware store doesn't carry basic tools like a monkey wrench. That's a pipe wrench because the Europeans simply have different things, different way of putting things together. The most frequently asked question about life in Ukraine concerns women. Ukrainian women have a well-deserved reputation for their good looks. Now, my wife is attractive, and the women I know through our Toastmasters Public Speaking Club are extraordinary by American standards. In this relatively poor country, the stability of a marriage is more important to a woman than in the West. The ladies dress well, they take full advantage of what nature has given them. If a guy is a reasonable provider, they will make more of an effort to make the marriage work. Now, any guy is on dangerous ground attempting to characterize how romantic women are. But having been married to Asian and American women and now a Ukrainian, I'll give it a shot. Asian women tend to see a quid pro quo. Men and women have a duty to each other in a marriage, kind of a contractual bond. Romance seems secondary. American women used to believe in true love, but they allowed themselves to be talked out of it during the sexual revolution. They still have a notion that it's out there someplace, but they don't seem willing to take the chance of offering love when they think it's unlikely to be reciprocated. Americans in my generation were still romantic. My grown children's generation seems not to be so. Now, when I'm not with the kids, I spend my time reading and writing. I'm a top 500 Amazon reviewer and a frequent speaker in our local Toastmasters Public Speaking Club. The topics that interest me are climate change, evolution, evolutionary biology, psychology, education, cooking, history, cryptocurrencies, finance, economics, and children's books, among other things. I started reviewing books as kind of a Cliff Notes project for myself to remember what I'd read. As a consequence, most of my reviews are quite long. They serve me as a summary of the book and people who read them as a detailed introduction to help make the decision whether it's worth investing and buying the entire book. I will include subtitles in my YouTube videos to give exact titles of books that I talk about. I will include the subtitles in my YouTube videos to give exact titles of the books I mention. More than that, I'll post the entire text of my YouTube presentations on my LiveJournal site. The text will include hyperlinks to the books and other things that I may have written. This will be my technique for combining my love of the written word with this new video technology. To net it out, I found in Ukraine what I had been looking for decades in the United States, a true life partner and people with solid values. This is Graham Seibert, signing off again from Kiev.